Hi, I'm Morgan Zizak, and my project was on watercolor techniques. So basically the next following slides are going to be a series of combination of my work as well as work that I found on the internet that I thought would properly convey each method. So the first method is washes, and basically there's several different types: flat, graduated, streaky, and wet. And as you can see, there's different gradations that you can do as well as a combination of colors. So those are really effective just for like a background, basically. And then the next is wet, which is a type of wash. Basically, you're just dropping in colors for variation and a really, moving type of energy to your work. I thought this one was really great because of the water lines that it used to create different shapes. So in this example, I used that wet method for the shadow off of the tree. This is over in front of the MU in Lake Laverne. And then I also used it on like the front area to blend these colors and move your eye across with different patterns. This is glazing, and the basic need for glazing is to show basically like a different layer of color over another color. So they use this to create a texture on the flower petals to show movement and what the shape and form actually is. It basically just adjusts tone. And so I use that for the flowers on the far side of this composition. This is the Minneapolis Sculpture Garden. And basically the layers of different flowers shows depth. Also in the foreground you can see a method of glazing on the grass to show texture. This is the arch in St. Louis, and so I use glazing on the actual structure itself to like use a vertical motion to bring your eye up and follow the shape down. I also used a form of glazing on this pathway here to draw your eye back. This is dry. And so this is basically self-explanatory. It's just your wet medium on a dry paper. Basically this is opposite of wet and wet. But an example of it I thought was great was from the internet, and I thought that it really added great texture here on the bottom, really coming to life, and it sort of works with the white space so that your composition isn't just like a flat one-liner, I guess. It really brings you back into the space. And then I used the method to define what the structural element of these columns are. So basically I came in with like a really hard line on the bottom to show verticality and bring your eye upwards. This is an example of dropping in color. Basically, they meld together the surface by using different colors that just blend together loosely. And then you can also tell through all these examples that they really combine all of the methods together, and that's what a really great work is. And so, as you can tell in all these, they use lots of different examples. This one is specifically structural underdrawing, so they bring out what I'd consider to be trees with a darker line, sometimes in pen or a different medium. So this one uses different layering textures, wet on wet. You can see with the blending of colors. This is an example of an arbor that I'd seen in Minneapolis, and so I used pen to basically accentuate the structural quality of it, and then basically filled in the detail with different flowers. Another really effective method is basically blending the entire composition with several different mediums. So I used charcoal on the bottom and then blended it into a wet on wet interpretation of a vine area. And the final technique that I decided to use was the use of white space. I feel like it's really a neglected topic in watercolor, and it makes things really interesting. So like the surface of the water is really made alive because it shows basically a different reflection. Some of the boats are also, their shape is defined by outlining a white space. This is a door from Aldo Leopold Schack. He's the father of landscape architecture, and I thought that the site was very personal to him because he built the whole place, and so I used the white space and to accentuate this lock mechanism on the corner of the door. So it really brings to a focal point. Yeah, so that's my presentation. Yes?
So some of those were your work?
Yeah.
Which ones were they?
So number 4, 6, 7, 10, 13, 14, and 16 were mine. And those are basically from the Savannah studio for landscape architecture, so we just travel around. Those are 20-minute watercolors.
They're really good.
Thank you.
Now, when you did those, did you have a choice of medium, or was everyone supposed to do watercolor for that?
Yeah, they really like you to do watercolor as sketching, so those are the sort of mediums they want you to use. Yes?
I thought it was really effective that you used those because you could explain like how you made one thing into another. Like when you were talking about the charcoal one, like just the knowledge behind it because you did it, I think was really good.
Yes.
And they look really good too.
Thank you.
Did they give you like a brief on how to do watercolor before you actually did it?
I was one of the few people who actually had taken a course in high school, so I was really lucky to have had that background. But yeah, the improvement across our entire class of people who didn't even have experience was huge just because of the repetition of doing it.
Also, your watercolors were amazing, like especially I think 16 is probably my favorite. I just wish the pictures were a little clearer.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to see like the texture that you were talking about, but it was a little hard to see. But they were still good.
Thanks.
Yeah, particularly if you did them in kind of sketchbook backwards, they are going to be hard to reproduce them. And, what kind of watercolors did you use?
I basically just used the black versions. I
Mhm.
have white watercolors at home, but I have a more portable set that's about like this
Yeah,
big.
the traditional spit box.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
right.
Yeah, but,
It's amazing the variation you got on a lot of them with just that.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have all these watercolors still, like I gave them away, so I was kind of stuck with a couple pictures, but yeah, the picture quality could have been better.
Why did you give them away? Did you think you'd never want to do it again?
Well, no, they were postcards, and so the back of them, like even it's like this big and you build a
Right.
stamp and stuff. So I would just send them to my family and stuff on our trip.
Yeah, you did a lot of that. But now, do you think you will continue to use watercolor? Do you enjoy the medium?
Oh yeah, I love watercolor. I use it for pretty much almost every project.
Mhm.
I think it's one of my stronger points, so as opposed to like, I don't know, fiddling around like pencil work, this is a lot faster for me.
I love watercolor myself, and not that I'm any good at it, because I'm not. But Paula Streeter and I were talking about this a couple of years ago, that there are a lot of students who really just put up a block. They don't want to do it, don't want to try it. And part of that is that, unfortunately, watercolor is one of those mediums where it's easier with better quality material. So when you're in high school, they have the least, it's the worst grade of paper and the least sophisticated actual paint, and it makes it harder to do there. Whereas actually, if you move yourself up a little bit by just a little bit better paper and just a couple of tubes or pans of really better quality, you find that it becomes easier, and it's a much people enjoy it and can express themselves much better with that. So part of the problem is that where you first start out, it's not conducive to really good self-expression, and a lot of people want to give up, but it's a wonderful medium to work in. Very good. Thank you.